When abilities had first been introduced to the human race, people had quickly discovered that some were far more powerful than others. Not long after came the introduction of the power level system, and it is divided into 8 levels. These levels indicate how many mutant cells are in the body, independent of energy strength. In turn, the military breaks it down from 1.1 to 1.9. There are 2 ways to gain competence. There are so-called originals, or learning. During the war with the Dalka race, some people in distress started to exhibit powers which the human mind could not comprehend. The power displayed by the originals proved to be enough to repel the aliens. These new superheroes realized that they could share their powers with other people. Because humans need these abilities to survive, they quickly documented how to do this in the ability books. After the First War had ended, ability books for levels 1 to 5 are sold to the public. While large corporations and the military condoned the retention of advanced versions by the first users. Thus, ability users either belong to original families or learn their abilities from books. And the originals are stronger. Some also decided to keep their lineage. After the demise of his parents, Quinn had not had any family members to support him. He can't even afford the cheapest books. Now, he had finally gained the ability, though he didn't know to what level the cells had mutated. Once upon a time there was a technique to help take control of abilities. Unfortunately, that book has disappeared. Quinn looks at the power level in his watch, which is 1. He notices that everyone else's watches have the same number. Sergeant Griff was standing in front of all the students, calling out names in groups of 5. They students are then sent somewhere to take the exam. Quinn was hopeful until he saw the screen pop up in front of him.
You are being hit by direct sunlight. All stats will be halved.
It's not a good sign and is hot and weak.
Hey, are you okay?
A stranger standing next to Quinn asked.
It's okay. I'm just a little bit nervous about the testing.
Well, don't be. I'm quite strong, you know. If anyone messes with you, you can come and ask me for help.
Quinn returned the smile, yet he couldn't help but feel uneasy.
The name's Gordon, by the way.
My name's Quinn.
Use of an ability has been detected. The ability has been rejected.
Quinn looked at the system strangely, then he noticed the hand. He pulled his hand back. The system was clearly telling him that Vorden was trying to use his ability on him.
What is your ability?
I don't have an ability.
Vorden wasn't too happy that the answer didn't satisfy his curiosity.
Next group, Quinn Talon, Vorden Blade, Peter Chuck, Layla Munro, and Aaron Helly. Come to the front to take your test.
The 5 students walked towards the sergeant who was waiting for them in front of the crowd. Besides Quinn and Wharton, among them was Peter, a very thin boy who was very nervous, kept looking round. The other 2 members were girls. Layla had short brown hair and was tall, and she carried a bow on her back, which surprised Quinn, since very few people carried weapons these days, except for a special group known as the Pure. They claimed that abilities were a blight on humanity and therefore chose to use weapons. Erin, on the other hand, was the kind of girl who was breathtakingly beautiful. Her long, silky hair was a gorgeous blonde color, but her expression was cold and expressionless. Walden smiled and shook hands with everyone in the group. Most accepted his greeting, except for Erin.
Come on, you don't have to be like that.
Vorden said as he placed his hand on her shoulder. Suddenly, with great speed, Erin grabbed Walden's wrist and froze his limb. They were making a scene, and everyone gleefully watched.
Stop it, you two. If you have that much energy to pick a fight, then save it for the test.
Erin immediately dropped Walden's hand when she heard Griff's reprimand, and Walden's hand began to thaw. He scrambled back to the group and stood behind Quinn, his face flushed with embarrassment.
Can you believe her? I nearly lost my hand.
You can't just go around touching people without their permission.
Yeah, I know. She's lucky I didn't use my strength.
His words angered many of Irene's admirers. Eventually, Quinn and the other 4 were called to a clearing, where they noticed that a man in black was standing not far away.
Send them away.
As soon as Griff gave the command, the hooded man planted both of his hands on the ground and the square started to light up, shining in a bright purple color. They were caught in a whirlwind. The next moment, they were in an empty wasteland. There were neither signs of life nor green areas here. 2 people stood before the group, a woman dressed in black and next to her another man whose face was hidden beneath his hood. Quinn could not make out the badge on the arm of either of their uniforms, making it impossible to tell what rank they possessed. The woman had her tablet and was busy flicking through it. It wasn't until she finished reading that she began to speak.
Hello, I am Jane and I will be the one in charge of your test today. Once the test has been completed, I will be updating your information and your score will then be reflected on your wristwatches. Now, who do we start with? Peter Chuck, step forward. What is your ability?
The nervous Peter did as he was told, and he looked worse than ever.
I don't have any ability.
Quinn and the others then realized why Peter was so nervous. No, because of the war, a lot of children became orphans. This meant that they didn't have the chance to buy ability books. The hooded man, who was standing beside Jane, suddenly conjured a book in his hand and held it out quietly. Jane took the book and handed it over to Peter.
Don't be afraid, Peter. Here, take this.
F for me? You're just giving this to me for free?
When you learn to use it, you can come back and redo the test. For now, I'm granting you level 1 power status for now. Quinn Talon, step forward. What is your ability?
Quinn considered this entire charade to be ridiculous. He has no ability. The tablet Jane was holding already had all the information he had from his previous school. Before coming to military school, Quinn had done a bit of research himself. He already knew that the military freely gave all students who had no ability their very own ability book. This way, all those students like Peter would suddenly become indebted to the military. It can't be so. The military has almost all the ability books and skill books. If you ever wanted to increase your strength, you would have to stay loyal to the military. Even if he did not join the army after 2 years, he was able to work in the field of construction by virtue of his ability. Quinn already has the ability to learn new abilities, and they pay close attention to every student who can write books.
I don't have an ability.
The masked man standing beside Jane took out a book out of thin air. Her eyes were cold and emotionless as she handed it to Quinn. Quinn took the book from Jane, but suddenly another screen appeared before him.
Unable to learn this ability, would you like to convert the book into 10 EXP?
The second message surprised Quinn, who really wanted to turn the book into EXP.
I'm sorry, but I don't want it.
Quinn said as he handed the book back to Jane. Jane raised an eyebrow. This was the first time in 5 years that someone had refused a letter of competence.
A student by the name of Quinn Talon doesn't want to accept the ability book. How do I deal with this person?
No need to force him. Just let him take the test and report back if he shows promise. Interesting people. Let's see how long you can survive in this cruel world, Quinn.
Jane adjusted her suit and headed back to the group of students.
Apologies for keeping you all waiting.
She turned to look at Quinn.
You're still going to take the test, Quinn.
Was there really a need for him to take the test as someone without an ability?
Please follow me.
Jane led everyone to the field. Quinn noticed huge craters and charred marks on the ground.
Please proceed to destroy the targets in front of you as quickly as you can. The test will begin immediately.
3 targets popped up out of the ground at random locations around the wasteland. Quinn tried to look for the targets. Everything appeared like a blur in the distance. He could only run in front of him and knock him down one by one with his fists. The second one was in regards to this strength test. All he needed to do was to punch into a huge drum-like machine.
Strength 5.
For the final test, there was a big circular machine with many holes on its front. It shoots holographic spikes at the candidate, which speed up with the mechanical speed. Quinn soon got tired of dodging and was hit.
Agility 5.
Jane announced this time and once again noted it down. If only he could have taken these tests at night, he would have most likely doubled his scores.
Quinn Talon, your overall current power level is that of a level 1 ability user.
Jane informed him. Quinn clenched his fist and went back to stand with the others. He knew that the days ahead of him as a level 1 user would be harsh, but hopefully that would change in due time.